November 7th, 2000. Millions of people had their eyes on an exciting football match. One side was the German team, the other side the English team. It was a highly sensitive match in London. The stakes were so high that if a fire broke out or an explosion occurred somewhere, no one would have even noticed. But well, this wasn't the only football match taking place that day. On the other side, an even more exciting match was about to be played. The winner of this match was set to receive a prize of £200 million. On one team were the police officers and cleaners. On the other team were the thieves. With the referee's whistle, the match began. There was great excitement and energy in the stadium. The ball was in the thieves' hands. They moved well toward the opponent's goal. They passed brilliantly, but when they went for the shot, the cleaner goalkeeper made a great save and caught the ball. He threw it forward to the police officer. The officer took the ball, quickly moved forward, and in a fraction of a second, struck it hard. But let's see where the story of this match really began. It started with a family visit to the Millennium exhibition. A man came to the exhibition with his family, when suddenly his eyes fell on a 203-carat diamond. It was truly beautiful, and that beauty led to an immeasurable price. An intriguing idea came to the man's mind. But well, this man was no ordinary person. He was a professional thief who had pulled off many impressive heists before. He started plotting. He went to the exhibition many times. He consulted with his fellow thieves. His first problem was their point of entry and exit from the museum. The entry point wasn't too difficult because they could enter from anywhere, the main entrance or the vehicle transport door. But the main problem was that since as soon as they entered and triggered any alarm, the doors would lock shut. The second problem was the CCTV cameras. The third problem was the vibration sensors, which would activate and trigger the alarm at the slightest shake or movement of the glass. And the fourth problem was the guards inside the museum. To find out how the thieves solved these problems, let's go to the day of the heist. November 7th, 2000. With the referee's whistle, the football match began. Everyone was watching the match with full attention. And at that moment, even the guards and police officers had their attention on the football. And well, that was the perfect time to start the heist. At that moment, a bulldozer was on its way to the exhibition. But well, who would ever think that this bulldozer was being used for a heist? Everyone assumed it was just a bulldozer moving around for work. When the bulldozer reached the exhibition, it charged with full force toward the fences surrounding the site. And with one hit, it knocked the fences down. But that was just its first move. As some motivational speakers say, either you find a way or you make one. And the bulldozer once again charged with full force toward the exhibition wall and demolished it. That way, the thieves could easily bypass the problem of the doors locking shut. The bulldozer entered through Route 1, tore down the fence, and continued straight ahead so the thieves could easily reach the money zone, where the 203-carat diamond was located. Station 3 was their escape route. The first problem was solved. Now let's move on to the second problem, the cameras. Upon entering, the thieves threw smoke bombs inside to block the view. Of course, at that point, the cameras weren't that important anymore, because with the loud noise the thieves had made, everyone had already noticed them. So the second problem was solved as well. In fact, you could say that using this method also solved the third problem, the vibration sensors. However, the glass was very thick and difficult to break. So the thieves used pneumatic hammers and nail guns to pierce through, and they managed to extract the diamond from inside. Given that the thieves had chosen a large bulldozer to start the job and had made a lot of noise, they certainly knew the police would come after them with full force. So they had to focus more on speed than on stealth. They knew that immediately after demolishing the museum wall with the bulldozer, the police would be dispatched from the nearest police station to the exhibition. The nearest police station was about 12 minutes away from the exhibition. That meant the thieves had a maximum of 12 minutes. And that time was more than enough for them because they had already identified in advance all the diamonds they were going to steal. In fact, they only needed 5 minutes to steal 200 million pounds. In those 5 minutes, the police could only cover half the distance. As a result, they had no worries about the police. But there was still one problem left: the guards present at the exhibition, whose only available weapon was a handgun. The thief had also planned for this. The thieves had brought automatic weapons with them. A handgun against automatic weapons was like a simple toy gun. So upon seeing the automatic weapons, the guards dropped their weapons and surrendered. The last problem was solved. Now the only thing left was how to escape. One way was to get into a car immediately after the heist and drive away from the exhibition. This route was risky because after all the noise they had made, a large number of police cars were already heading toward them. The chance of running into police on the way back was high, and as a result, disappearing would be very difficult. They would surely be caught. Given these circumstances, the thieves decided to take another route, the water route. Next to the exhibition was the River Thames, which flows into the North Sea. Using it, they could go anywhere they wanted and completely vanish from the face of the earth. Even if the police tried to follow them on this route, by the time they caught up, the thieves would have already reached the North Sea and could easily disappear. So, before the heist began, one of the thieves was waiting by the exhibition with a motorboat to pick up his friends immediately after the job was done and disappear through the North Sea. The thieves thought everything was done and that they had won the match. But let's go back to the football match. The captain of the thieves shot the ball toward the goal, but the cleaner goalkeeper caught it. Then the goalkeeper threw the ball to the police officer. The officer moved forward with a slick tactic, shot the ball, and it was a goal. What clever tactic. But well, what did this goal have to do with the heist? Let's find out. Where were we? The thieves had taken the diamond and were leaving the museum. But within 10 seconds, about 200 people surrounded them and aimed their weapons at them. Some were police officers, but some were cleaners who were in fact undercover police officers. It was over. The plan that had been designed with so much detail and precision had failed. In the end, the thieves surrendered. But wait, how did things get to this point? The story goes back 10 months earlier, when an informant working for the police reported the heist to them. As a result, all police forces had been deployed around the museum before the heist even began, waiting for the thieves to complete the job so they could arrest them. They had even placed police boats around the thieves' motorboat and had replaced the real diamond with a fake one, so that even if the thieves managed to escape, they wouldn't be able to steal the real diamond. Now let's see who the thieves were. The mastermind of the group, Terry Milligan, sentenced to 20 years in prison. The second member, William Cockram, sentenced to 18 years in prison. The third member, Ray Biston, sentenced to 18 years in prison. The fourth member, Robert Adams, sentenced to 15 years in prison. The fifth member, audacious, sentenced to 16 years in prison. The sixth member, Kevin Meredith, sentenced to 5 years in prison. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe and like the channel, and please write your thoughts in the comments.